If I were to ask you what the strongest tier 10 heavy tanks in World of Tanks Blitz would be for not only competitive playing, but as well for just pubs, these are the two vehicles that should come to mind. We have the T110E5, the American heavy tank, and as well the Kranvagn, the Swedish tier 10 auto-reloading heavy tank. Now both of these vehicles are incredibly strong because first of all, they can go hull down. Having gun depression and decent mobility gives these tanks the advantage to getting in the position and being very hard to penetrate. In fact, the Kranvagn is basically impossible to penetrate when it's hull down. It's got a great gun, 374 millimeters of heat penetration, and sure, while the damage per minute is not fantastic on this vehicle, what is great is the auto-reloading clip that's able to dump out 1200 damage in a matter of 7 seconds. The E5, while it does not carry a clipping gun, it's got great mobility for a heavy tank. In fact, if you're running the speed boost, you're able to go upwards of like 45 kilometers per hour. It's incredibly quick. Not only is the vehicle quick, but you can run reactive armor, which gets rid of 20% of damage for 15 seconds that you're being hit by. You've got great penetration, just the exact same as the Kranvagn, and as well, great armor for hull down situations. And that is why the E5 and the Kran are the two most played competitive vehicles in tier 10 for World of Tanks Blitz. You'll see clans like Rain, Pramo, Void, all these top clans spamming these vehicles because they really do a fantastic job out there. So Wargaming decided, you know what, we're going to be nerfing tier 10 heavy tanks, especially the most prominent and played heavy tanks. That way, they're not going to be played as much in comp. Now, in my opinion, I think the Kran and the E5 are still going to be played basically the same amount because they're nerfing the vehicles, but it's nerfing every single one of these tanks. It's not like one team's going to have an advantage in the E5 and then the other team's going to have a bigger advantage in the Kran. It's still going to be the same for both teams. So I'm just guessing most teams are still going to stick with heavy meta, but we're going to have to see if medium tanks and light tanks are more prominent to find in tier 10 and less heavy tanks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, if you're wondering what did happen to these vehicles and the other changes in tier 10, there's quite a bit. Vehicles like the T110E4, FE4005, 2 and 5B, a lot of vehicles got buffs and nerfs. I will link Blitzhanger's website in the description down below so you guys can check out as well the buffs and changes done to the vehicles in tier 10. But as I said, we're just going to be talking about the E5 and as well the Kran, asking are they going to be ruined or still fine? Now the E5 is going to be losing quite a bit off the reload, in fact just about a second, and what that means is the vehicle is going to be losing about 250 damage per minute. Yeah, that's definitely going to hurt the vehicle quite a bit. As well, the turret reverse speed is going from 20.86 to 16.69. Now, I don't think the turret reverse is really going to do anything to the tank. It's 4 degrees a second, like, yeah, that's really not much. But the DPM of 250 will hurt the tank quite a bit. That's going to put it now down to some of the worst tier 10 values for damage per minute. Also, when we talk about the Kranvagn, somewhere hidden, there it is all the way at the bottom, the Kran is going to be losing 150 hit points, and not only with the hit points, it's also going to be cutting its turret reverse in half. It's going to be going from pretty decent speed now to the same speed as a mouse. Yeah, that is not fantastic. Now, I personally think the Kran is still going to be able to hold its own. Obviously, the Kran's main advantage is being hull down. So as long as you keep the main peripheral of tanks that are in front of you, you shouldn't have to worry too much about the turret reverse. But we're going to be breaking into some replays here, talking about what the Kran and the T110E5 were able to do in these games, and would they have been able to do this exact scenario in the next update. So, yeah, we're going to be breaking straight into it. Now, of course, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, maybe on other buffs and nerfs of the update, please let me know in the comments down below. But we're going to be starting off with the Kran here. As you can see, the mobility is still going to be staying exactly the same. Now, one thing I did learn is that the engine power, especially the improved engine power, is going to be getting a top speed nerf, I think. Now it's going to be down to 5 kilometers per hour forward, and it's going to be getting a little bit of an acceleration nerf. That's definitely going to suck a little bit for a vehicle like the Kran that's already pretty dang slow, and now it's going to make it just a little bit more painful. And as well, the E5, which boasts that incredible mobility. I gotta pause that replay and play. It seems like it's a little bit laggy, but yeah, I really think that overall it's not gonna change much, but it is gonna be a little bit slower. Yeah, not sure what was up with that lag there at the beginning. After reloading the replay, it seems like it is working fine. I have no clue what was going on there the first time, but yeah, everything seems to be working a-okay. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is my personal opinion on the Kranvagn. Will it change in Update 8.2 compared to Update 8.1? And no, I actually don't think the Kranvagn is going to be seeing many changes. I do think the E5 will be seeing changes. It is having quite a substantial damage per minute nerf. But the Kranvagn, I really don't think much is going to change on the tank. They're not nerfing the damage per minute. They're not touching anything about the gun. They're lowering the hit points by 150. This vehicle already has an incredible amount of hit points. So even if they nerf it, you're still going to be sitting over 2,600, which, for heavy tank regards, is still quite a healthy amount. I don't think that's really going to hurt the Kranvagn whatsoever. What is going to hurt the tank in certain scenarios is that turret traverse speed. When you're trying to snap shots, like that first shell I penned on the side of the T-54, you wouldn't have been able to do that with the Kranvagn in the next update. But what I do want to point out is this type of gameplay I'm doing here is basic Kranvagn gameplay. I'm sitting hull down, and as you'll notice, I'm not really moving my turret at all. I've picked up now 1900 damage basically sitting in one position and moving my turret about a 30-degree angle. And that's all you really ever need to do in the Kranvagn. I think that the public reception of the Kranvagn nerf is going to be way, way worse than what the actual nerf is. And a good example of this would be like the Emil 1. The Emil 1, when it came out, was honestly a busted tank, and it still is one of the strongest tier 8 in the game. In fact, I made a video not too long ago saying that in my personal opinion it is the best tier 8 to get because it's free, it's got great all-down capabilities, the gun has got good penetration, even though it's not super accurate, it still is a fantastic vehicle to grind and as well play if you wanted to win games without dropping a huge amount of money. And yeah, the Emil was nerfed, and it was nerfed I think about 20 or 15% on the dispersion, but when it was nerfed, so many people that were playing the tank stopped because they thought it was going to be bad and that it was going to ruin their stats, that now at tier 8, it's very, very rare to find an Emil played anywhere. And I honestly think that the Kranvagn is going to be a very similar scenario. That Wargaming is going to nerf the Kranvagn, and even though this nerf is going to barely do anything, again, I've picked up 3,500 damage now, barely turning my turret as it is. But the thing is that a lot of people perceive this as the end-all of the tank. I don't think it's going to change anything, honestly. I think that this game that I played right here in the Kranvagn, apart from that one T-54 shot, would have been exactly the same in Update 8.2 as it is in Update 8.1. Let me know what you guys think about that, but yeah, like, again, I'm just aiming my turret directly in front of me. Where else would you aim a turret on a heavy tank that's meant to be hull down and use the turret, guess what, on the front of the vehicle? Yeah, you don't want to, turn the turret around and expect to take shots. So, for me personally, you can see this game here was quite easy. And to what I think, the Kranvagn is not going to change at all. Pretty easy battle. I think the Kranvagn is going to be a little bit more annoying. There's going to be certain scenarios where you do miss that snapshot. There's either a light tank on your side and you're not able to turn it just quick enough. It is going to annoy the heck out of you. But on the scenario of it ruining the tank and really changing how the vehicle is going to be performing in 30 days, yes, the amount of players will drop, but no, I don't think these statistics overall are going to drop even by 0.5%. I think the vehicle is going to stay very, very similar. And there you have it, 5,300 damage in the Kranvagn, and you still would have been able to do that in Update 8.2. Man, what the heck is up with those notifications? Now, the second game, we're going to be talking about the T110E5, a vehicle that will be changing, in my opinion, for the worse and as well better. The E5 is definitely performing too strong. Sure, its statistics for the 90 days in Blitz Stars is not amazing. It's very good, and it's right up there with the IS-4 and the Kranvagn, but it's not, game-breakingly good. But the reason why this tank, I find, is definitely overpowered is because a skilled player in an E5 is basically the deadliest thing you'll ever come up against. If you know what you're doing in this tank, you can make an incredibly aggressive move. You can get away with it because you've got reactive armor, you've got speed boost, you've got fantastic armor, 2,600 hit points, a great gun. Like, there's no downside to this tank. It's, as Batchat Begins says, Captain America. It can do it all. And because of that, the E5, apart from that shot there, I really don't know what to say about that. But yeah, overall, the E5 is such a strong tank because it can do basically every role. And I still think that's going to be the case similarly in the next update. Yes, it still will be able to do things like this. You're going to be able to put on reactive armor, and a 62A is not going to roll that much. and in the amount of time I've spent side scraping here, obviously I would have had a shell loaded. So I think the DPM is going to hurt the vehicle. 200 damage per minute is quite a substantial nerf. And especially for me, I love running calibrated shells, and that gives me a lot more penetration. Yeah, that's definitely going to make it a lot worse if I wanted to go up against other tier 10 heavy tanks, let's say like the M60 that people complained had bad DPM. Well, now that vehicle's becoming just a bit stronger. The Kran is also going to be becoming stronger, judging that the 2 and 5B and as well this vehicle are losing DPM. The Kran is not, so even though the Kran is losing that hit points and turret reverse, I still think the Kran is going to be becoming stronger in general. This game we picked up 1,999 damage, and now we've got an IS-8 completely YOLO rushing me. Now I've got 663 hit points left. And yeah, my traverse speed is not amazing, but thankfully with that speed boost, I'm just able to turn it. That way he's not able to get on my side. With this speed boost, now I can face hug this guy. I know for a fact that if I give him any more leeway on my vehicle, he will easily be able to finish me off. But he is going to bounce this because I did angle it correctly. There you go. Now, with that nerf DPM, I would have had plenty of time to finish off that IS-8. And honestly, it probably wouldn't have made a difference at all in this game as well, even with the nerfed damage per minute. Here's what I personally think is, yeah, the E5 is going to have a couple more scenarios where it's going to struggle. But usually with the E5, when you play it hull down, you're only poking when you have a shell, or you should only be poking when you have a shell. And what that means is that if you're a player like me, it's not going to change much for the tank because I'm just going to wait that one more second and then poke when I have that one shell loaded. So yeah, I don't think update 8.2 is actually going to hurt the E5 that much. It's still going to hurt it, and I think that the PR for the tank is definitely going to go down massively. I don't think the Kran's going to be hurt at all, in my opinion. I really don't think anything's going to change about it. Same for a vehicle like the IS-4. The 2 and 5B, yeah, that's going to hurt a bit. 2 and 5B doesn't really have amazing things going for it, and now that they're nerfing it, the one thing, the gun, it's definitely going to struggle. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. If you think that the E5 is going to absolutely suck in update 8.2. If you think the Kran is going to suck, let me know if you think I'm wrong. But for me personally, and the judgment that I've had from the previous nerfs and buffs and updates lately in World of Tanks Blitz, I really don't think this is going to change much. I still think for competitive playing, which is what these vehicles were nerfed for, it's not really going to change the comp aspect all too much. You're still going to see a lot of heavies, not really many mediums, and lights being played. But that's my personal opinion, and that's just a theory. Hopefully, all of you enjoyed today's video. I'll be seeing you in the next one if you'd like to see more like it. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye-bye.